You guys ready? We're good? Yeah? Yeah, it's good, yeah. Good evening, everyone. Whoa. Welcome. We're going to start off with the public hearing agenda for Tuesday, June 21st. Public hearing will be held in person. Members of the public may view on public hearing and accessing the meeting via YouTube. I'd like to call the, I'm going to move this back a bit. I'd like to call to order the public hearing, and I have a statement. Thank you all for coming tonight for the public hearing on the proposed amendments to the Village of Anmore zoning bylaw. This hearing is being held under the authority of Section 464 of the Local Government Act. Council of the Village of Anmore has given first and second readings to zoning bylaw amendment bylaw number 661-2022 and 662-2022 and directed that this public hearing be held. I will now ask Ms. Halliwell to confirm that the public hearing has been appropriately advertised and notice provided.
Thank you, Mayor McEwen. Yes, the public hearing has been adequately noticed as through our new notice procedure bylaw, and there have been no submissions to date.
Good. Okay, staff will present a summary of the proposed bylaw, and following the summary, the floor will be open to anyone in attendance that wishes to present his or her views on the proposed bylaw. Please note that this is not a question or answer period and is not an opportunity to debate the merits of the proposed bylaw with council, staff, or others in attendance. We want to ensure that all attendees who wish to speak tonight are provided the opportunity to do so. If you wish to provide comments, please come to the podium when invited to do so and begin your presentation by clearly stating your name and address for the official record. A 3-minute time limit will apply to each speaker, and a second opportunity will be provided after everyone has been given the chance to provide comments for the first time. Before the public hearing concludes, I will make a final call for speakers 3 times before concluding the hearing. Once the public hearing is concluded, the Local Government Act requires that Council not accept any further input from the public relating to the proposed amended bylaw prior to consideration of the next reading of the bylaw. I now ask Mr. Boyd, Manager of Development Services, to present the zoning bylaw amendment. Mr. Boyd.
Thank you, Your Worship. As mentioned previously, this has gone through the first and second reading, and I'll just review what was put forward on the first and second reading for the bylaw amendment. So bylaw amendment 661-2022, the purpose of this amendment is to delete the existing civic institutional P1 section within the zoning bylaw and replace it with the Schedule A attached to the bylaw. The main purpose of the amendment or the change here would be to change some of the requirements due to the parking within this P1 zone. This was highlighted through the building permit process for the proposed hub building, where it became to light that in order to provide the parking required for a civic zone, it would take 120 vehicles to that zone. So it became apparent that the zoning wasn't really applicable and should be amended through that process. So we're here tonight to review that and put it forward that it should be 1 space per 90 square meters of finished gross floor area compared to the 9 meter square floor area previously. Also, there's some amendments to the interior side setback requirements within this zone. This is to allow for the civic institutional area, for the hub area, to be able to come up to the interior parcel line and provide a nice, easy transition into the existing Spirit Park section of the land. So that's the main changes to the P1 constitutional area, or civic area, sorry. Included within this bylaw amendment, there is also a change to 2 parcels of land, 265 Alpine Drive, Anmore, and 275 Alpine Drive, Anmore. These are currently zoned as commercial C3, equestrian, and we're looking to amend these and change them to an RS1 zone. The reason behind this is that previously they were an RS1 zone, and through some changes to the bylaw, they looked like they've been changed back to a C3, and we're looking to put them back into the right zone, which is RS1, which, just to be clear, those 2 parcels of land already have residential properties built upon them and in accordance with the RS1 zone. And then finally, there's 1 parcel of land, Spirit Park as we refer to it, that is currently classified as P2 parkland. We'd like to change this to the civic institutional P1 zone in order to allow for, again, some of the structures associated with the hub to be built and used upon that land. So even though it's being changed from parkland to civic, in reality the land will stay as civic park as we know it at this point in time. That's the general overview of 661-022.
Good. Okay, so we'll open it up for presentation. That was the presentation of zoning bylaw amendment bylaw number 661-22. Anybody like to speak to that? I will repeat. Anybody want to come up and any comments regarding bylaw number 661-2022? Okay. I'll ask for a third time. No? Okay, well then we close. Is it how we...
So we will need to also present the secondary bylaw as
okay.
well,
Okay,
and then
well,
open that up for public comment.
Sure. We'll move on to presentation of zoning bylaw amendment bylaw number 662-2022. Mr. Boyd.
Okay, general overview of this part of this bylaw is to amend an existing zone within the zoning bylaw. In particular, it's going to refer to the Birchwind subdivision. Currently, it is owned RS1. However, the majority of the buildings within that zone, the parcels within that zone, don't really classify within the RS1 zone. And so council have directed staff to review this zone approximately a year ago, and we've come back with a recommendation to amend some of the zone to basically allow the buildings which are there built currently. And the reason behind it is if one of these buildings were to be burnt down in a fire or what have you, basically the owner could not put back the residence as it was prior to the fire. So we've gone back and we've reviewed the existing structures, and we've tried to amend this zone to provide some more flexibility to these residents, which we've now called RS2. And there are some relaxations to the setbacks. There is an increase to the FAR allowance within the zone to 3.5. And there's also an increase to the allowable coverage within this zone as well. And I just wanted to make a note, because we did have a few questions regarding this through the week, that this zone is meant for the Birchwind subdivision and not for other parcels of land within Anmore at this point in time. However, any person within Anmore can apply for a rezoning of their land, and it's always a council matter to go forward with. So I just wanted to make that one small point. Good. As we present this, and that's it.
Good, thank you. Okay, so we have before us zoning bylaw amendment number 662-2022. I'll open it up for comments, concerns. I'll open it up for a second time. Comments or concerns? None? Okay. And for a final time, a final third time? Comments and concerns? Okay. I'm going to put a motion forward to close the public hearing. Someone to move that? Move, seconded. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried unanimously. The public hearing now is closed. Okay, we now will get on to the regular council meeting agenda for Tuesday, June 21st. It's also National Indigenous Peoples Day. Before I get started, the Village of Anmore would like to open our meeting by recognizing the many Indigenous peoples of our area, including the following First Nations, with communities that are located in the region that we now know as Metro Vancouver: Musqueam, Squamish, Tsleil-Waututh, and Coquitlam. Further, we would like to honor the important place in history occupied by the many tutorial keepers of these lands and waters around us since time immemorial. Before I call the meeting to order, I will just put our thoughts and best wishes with Councillor Weverink, who isn't here today, and he's recovering right now from surgery, and from what we've been told from family, everything went well. So we're very, very pleased. Call the meeting to order. Approval of the agenda. The recommendation would read
that the agenda be approved as circulated.
Someone to move that? Moved. Seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried unanimously. Public input. Public is permitted to provide comments to council on any item shown on this meeting agenda. A 2-minute time limit applies to speakers. No? Okay. We have no delegations. The minutes of the regular council meeting held on June 7th, 2022. The recommendation would read
that the minutes of the regular council meeting held on June 7th, 2022 be adopted as circulated.
Someone to move those minutes? Moved. Seconded. Any discussion? See none. All those in favor? Opposed, carried unanimously. Is there any business arising from those minutes? No? We now are on to 9A, legislative report, zoning bylaw updates. Ms. Halliwell.
Mayor McEwen. So this particular item on the agenda tonight is in relation to the public hearing that just closed. And the recommendation is that council give third reading and adopt Anmore zoning amendment bylaw 611-2022, and that council give third reading and adopt Anmore zoning amendment bylaw 662-2022.
Can I get someone to move those? Moved. Seconded. Any further discussion? See none. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried unanimously. We move on to 9B and 2021 annual report presentation. Ms. Halliwell.
Thank you, Mayor McEwen. So as council is aware, every year we are required to publish an annual report, and that's included in your agenda package tonight, starting on page 17. The annual report has been published on our website and available within the Village Hall for public viewing and comment for the past, I believe, 10 days, and we have received no formal comments from the public on the annual report. Included within it are our financial statements, which were previously approved by council. And so the annual report is before you for approval tonight. And I've got a recommendation.
Please, if you could read it.
That council approve the 2021 annual report as attached to the agenda.
Get someone to move that. Moved. Seconded. Any discussion? I just wanted to compliment Ms. Halliwell and staff for an excellent report. It's the nicest that I've seen so far, and I really appreciate it. It certainly gives a very good outline of the village's current state of affairs. So, see no further questions. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried unanimously. Now move on to 9C, the management report and statement of financial information. Ms. Martin, hello over there.
Hello to Mayor and Council this evening. As a requirement under the Financial Information Act, we have attached the Statement of Financial Information. The SOFI is a public document as attached to today's agenda and includes a copy of the audited financial statements. We have a recommendation that Council approve the management report and the Statement of Financial Information for 2021.
Someone to move that? Moved. Seconded. Any discussion? See none. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried unanimously. We'll now move on to the mayor's report. I've just got a couple of things. I wanted to mention that I had the opportunity on June 10th in this actually very building, actually standing where I am, to be able to call one of the bingo games for the kids for Anmore Elementary. It was a great event. A lot of parents and kids here and that, and they really enjoyed it. Susan Mukel was here helping out, as well as my wife Carrie Palmer Isaac and Jessica Lancaster. So it was a really great event. I just seemed to walk down here and got dragged into it, which was a lot of fun. I have just a quick email that I'm just going to read out quickly that I received today. Mayor McEwen, today and throughout the next couple of weeks, we'll be reminding our stakeholders and the public that as this Monday, June 27th, all drivers planning to visit Bunsen Lake will need a reservation. Drivers can go to bchydro.com/Bunsen and make a vehicle registration the day before the visit to Bunsen Lake. Users will have the option of booking a pass for a morning or afternoon time slot. All-day passes are available. Passes for the next day will be available online as of midnight the day before. For example, passes for June 27th will be available as of midnight June 26th. Reservations are connected to vehicle license plates and are non-transferable. Visitors entering the recreational area by transit or other means will not require a reservation. The pilot project will run until September 5th. Drivers without a reservation will not be able to enter the park. And that's from BC Hydro. So they're working. I just want to let everybody know what the actual process was. And then I will have two follow-up questions. Hemlock paving and then progress on the hub from staff. But that's all that I have right now for the mayor's report. Any councillor's report? Nope. I think we've given our biggest councillor report, and that is that Councillor Weverink is on the mend, which is great news. So I'll move over to our Chief Administrative Officer's report.
Thank you, Mayor McEwen. I'll turn it over to Chris in a second for the update on Hemlock paving. In terms of the community hub, so my understanding is that all of the excavation has now been completed, and they're just basically working on the transition to the construction team, who will be mobilizing on site this week. and then they're going to start doing the forms and footings and things like that in the coming weeks. So I'll continue to provide some updates on how the project is progressing at future council meetings. The other thing I just wanted to mention was that the property tax due date is July the 4th. This is our last meeting before that date, so just a reminder for everybody, and as well that you do need to claim your homeowner grant through the province directly, not through the municipality anymore. That changed a couple of years ago. And just further to your comments, Mayor, on the reservation system, I have been in some discussions with BC Hydro about the implementation of this new pilot program, and we are working together to try to ensure that any initial impacts from traffic are managed, so whether or not that be through their traffic control people and their setup that they've proposed down at the site. We also will have bylaw enforcement on that weekend, not during the week, but the first long weekend that it's in place, to sort of help as well. Also, the RCMP is aware that this is happening, so if we do get a surge of people that aren't aware of the reservation system, we have some processes in place to try to mitigate any impacts. And we'll continue to monitor that as we have in recent years going forward through the summer as well.
Yeah, I think with the weather forecast that I look for this weekend, I think that we should be well aware that before the reservation system starts on Monday, we should have a bit of a plan in place for this weekend as well. So, Councillor Trowbridge.
And there are electronic signs down, David. All the approaches, it's been blasted at everybody that the reservations are in place, so people should know.
We will also, we're just waiting for BC Hydro to share some social media content about the reservation system along with a link, which we will be amplifying for them as well once that information does come out, so we can try to spread the word a little bit more. Also for this weekend, we do have bylaw enforcement on at this time, and we've also taken some measures now that we've moved our village hall operations down to the works yard to make sure that that area is locked off and barricaded at the entrance at Alpine as well, so that we don't get any illegal parking within the village hall works yard location or along that entryway.
Good.
And I'll just turn it over to Chris for the Hemlock update.
Mr. Boyd.
Sorry, I know I sound like a broken record on this one. So we still don't have an exact date to start the work. We're still in a bit of a negotiation phase with a contractor due to the change of scope within the work. I was hoping to have good news for you tonight, but it looks like I didn't really get it today. So I'm still pressing them, and hopefully I'll have an answer for you for tomorrow. But my hope is within the next council meeting we'll have got going by that point. So hopefully I won't have to face the question again, and we'll be off to the races.
I wonder if you could just alliterate to what the issues are in regards to the costing and that.
Yeah. So we always, every year, we kind of put our budgets forward and we put on our best estimates of how much this work is going to cost. And so we put our estimates together for this financial year. And unfortunately, due to the escalation in oil prices, everything we do on road building is based along oil, basically. And so when we got the prices back, they were roughly twice the price that we thought they were going to be. So we then had to scale back the project and look at how can we achieve the paving and basically have a good product at the end. So we've had to amend some things that we would have liked to have done and gone back to just the bare essentials. And so at this point, because we've changed the scope, a bit technical, but for the contract, they put overhead and profit across different numbers across the numbers, and so we have to afford them the opportunity to redistribute some of those numbers, and so that's where I'm in the negotiation phase with them, to make sure we still get the best bang for our buck in the construction of the road.
Good, thank you. Councillor Trowbridge.
Are you anticipating any further inflationary push from them? Because the reason I ask is when you're inviting a contractor to move budget numbers to different lines, they tend to...
So I'm obviously very wary of that, and I know the games they might play. And so the answer to that is no. However, there is another piece to this that unfortunately, it's just a sign of the times, is that we now have to include something called an oil escalation clause, which is due to the market forces that, oil has been going up roughly 10% every month, that these guys are starting to lose money, and so as in the contract we try and in quotes, share the risk together, and so we just pay the up pricing of what the oil might be. So that's the only slight grey area that we have within the contract, but oil seems to have kind of leveled off at this point in time. So as soon as we get going, it's one of those things of, here's the price, get going next week, so we won't really be caught within that clause, is my hope. Yep.
And I know people are eagerly anticipating that getting paved, so.
And I'll just mention as well, we won't wait for the next council meeting. Once
Yeah.
we have a date, we'll post it on our Facebook page so that the public is aware of when that work will be happening.
Good, good.
Just to know also, there'll be project signs which will go up as well with contact numbers for the public as well, so they know who to call if there's a problem.
Perfect, good. Thank you. Okay, so we'll move on to, we've general correspondence, some communication dated June 22nd from Conservative Shadow Minister for Rural Economic Development regarding federal government support. I'll now open up to public question period. A 2-minute time limit applies to speakers. No? Okay, this is going to be a quick meeting then. Move to adjourn. Moved, seconded. All those in favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you, everybody, for coming out. Much appreciative on this rainy night. Summer will be here soon, I promise.